So, before you begin the score itself, would you like to gather any intel?
Well, an idea what the building looks like, so it's easier to sneak in.
Okay.
Like, if there are any back doors or any windows.
For sure. Yeah. So, make me a check there. Let's see what's so sure.
Gonna make a survey one.
Of course.
Can I assist with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 1 stress and
6 and 4.
great stuff. Okay, so on that success, you see that they're in one of the part of the district which is further inland, so it's not that far from Crowsfoot itself, and it's a fairly unremarkable building, but stands quite tall, and what you sort of get and from what you can see is that they're probably operating out the top two floors. It's quite a tall building, about 6 stories high, and likely made up of multiple accommodation and the small business kind of that operates out the ground floor level. There's some old balconies which do overlook the Chime Water. One of the smaller canals is right down in the southeast of the district itself. So it's just over Taffeta Bridge, which would lead you back into Crowsfoot.
Okay.
Gabriel.
It's at this point that I would want to hit up my tried and true friend, Celia the information broker. Like, I can't think of a situation that an information broker is just not useful.
I'm gonna say make me a check.
All right, most certainly will.
Okay. Celia at the moment is located in the much more up to the north of the district, and where is it? I cannot see it, but it's not on the map. But is currently at the Silver Stag Casino. You find her kind of very, very focused, very intent, with a healthy supply of chips at a baccarat table.
I do kind of give the place a quick look around before approaching, making sure that I wait until essentially that current game is finished before I engage in conversation, not to break her focus on what she's doing, whether it be illicit or otherwise.
Oh no, it's a legitimate game of baccarat. She continues to play while she talks, and you're able to sit at an empty seat next to her, where she continues to sort of put chips down, and is able to focus on both yourself. Although she doesn't hold any eye contact, her focus remains on the table.
Was the name ever given? I forget. Outside.
Yeah, Answer Aloro. That was from Priscilla.
Okay, that is an absolute mouthful, and I'm gonna struggle with that. So,
just answer is fine.
So, answer. answer. I keep hearing the word. I keep hearing answer.
ANSA. Asa.
Asa. Okay. So, this Asa person, what do you know? We'll start with that.
Oh, something of a feared figure. Has a small retinue around her. They all pray to the same demon, let's say. But she also has in her possession 2 rather large and disagreeable dogs.
Lovely. Yes, unfortunately, I was already aware of the connection to their said forgotten god, which is unfortunately why we're having to deal with them. That unfortunate incident down in Dunslow.
I heard.
We will be outside of her 2 dogs. Is there any sort of... And Gabriel chooses his words very carefully. Any buttons that could be pressed to rattle her, get her off of her normal thing, maybe let her expose a little bit more than what she wants to.
Well, for that, yes, there is. From what I've heard, she does fancy herself something of a connoisseur of wine.
All I have is this bottle of whiskey. All right, connoisseur of wine. She partake of the drink a lot, or just fancies the bottles?
Something of both. She has quite the collection, though. I think if you were to drink it, you would just have some absolutely wonderful vinegar. I mean, we're talking hundreds of years old. It's more that the bottle is worth more than the contents at this point. And of course, there are the later vintages which are still drinkable, which she seems to not so much sample as quaff.
Excellent. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to find a wine store. Pick up a nice visiting gift, so to speak, as it were. As usual, Celia, you have been a marvelous help.
She sort of tips the brim of her hat and good luck to you with whatever you have planned. I've learned not to ask too many questions when you're involved.
Well, that's just the line of business we're both in. And with that, Gabriel's gonna head off back to wherever Lottie's located and share the information.
Absolutely. So the 2 of you reconvene, and from where you are, you have a view over a couple of the whole of Silkshore itself is made up of this webway of canals, and through the fog, you're close enough that you can see your building target in question. That overhangs the chime water somewhat, but like I say, kind of the front is decorated with these iron-wrought balconies.
And I suppose, let us get this started.
Okay, so the age-old questions: is this plan overly bold or daring?
I'm strolling up through the front door. I don't know if you count that as bold or daring. Because it's not necessarily like this is a private club or something like that.
No. It's small. It's a small commune, but quite possibly kind of open and so probably not for your approach. Probably not that overly bold or daring. But does this plan exploit a vulnerability or hit your target where they're weakest?
One, they're not going to know that there's two people here, ideally. And another factor, if you need another one, is I am bringing some sort of wine. Now whether or not that's just toilet water, we'll have to see.
What load are you taking as well? Not including the wine.
I am taking a light load.
Okay. Can any of your friends or allies provide assistance? I would say that falls into the taking the wine. Yeah, so that those two, the last one kind of factors into this one as well. So that puts you at 3. And are there any other factors you would like to consider?
Weaving the web.
Absolutely. They are a higher tier as well, so that drops you, but weaving the web puts you back up to 3. And okay, so you could get an affordable wine, or you can actually get something worth delivering. But of course, that costs money. Would you like to spend a coin, or would you like to spend for good, or would you like to spend 2 coin for excellent?
Well, see, here's the... I wasn't joking. Gabriel has zero coin on his person right now. So any of that's gonna have to come from the crew vault. And since there's only one person here from the crew right now, I look over. How much can I spend?
You have 4 coin in the vault at the moment, so.
What's my allowance?
You know what? I have 4 coin on me, so I give you 2.
2? Okay, so we'll do.
So you've got.
Help me a lot before, and it looks like one more time I've wrapped you in something dangerous. So.
All right, so
You have in your possession an excellent bottle of wine, which is literally 2 weeks' salary for the average worker of Dusk.
Yeah.
And as you make your way across the, so going from the Bridge of Whimsy and crossing Taffeta Road, the busy traffic that rattles past, and you cross over the Bridge of the Vale into a open courtyard where, looking at the building straight on, the front door is the first door on the left.
Unless there's somebody that stops me, I'm going straight in.
There isn't, because these buildings, like I say, they're built upwards, and as you go in, you find yourself in a large kind of open foyer with a square staircase that goes round on itself, with doors on every floor.
And we don't have any information other than the top 2 floors.
Top 2 floors, yeah.
Oh. Gabriel looks up. How many floors is this?
To guess the
6?
6, yeah. Like that. Oh boy.
The fat man's enemy, the stairs. All right, well, all 350 pounds of Gabriel are gonna start trudging up these stairs. It's gonna take a little bit, but it's gonna... About after every flight, he has to stop for a moment. The first flight is already drenched.
The first flight of stairs, the occupant opens. This old looks to be probably a lady of the night in her prime, now pushing into her senior years. Kind of opens the door and just sort of looks at you. Yeah. Are you okay? You're not going to die there, are you?
Not after one flight of stairs. After these next 4, ask me then.
Well, I'll keep a lookout. I'll keep an ear out for the bell. Just closes the door. Meanwhile, Lottie, how are you getting in?
I think I'll follow from afar, and when we have found the right floor, I'm going the one under, and I will climb from the exterior to the window.
Okay, so for you, let's do. Is this plan overly bold or daring?
Said so.
And does this plan exploit a vulnerability or hit your target where they're weakest?
I have no idea. Technically, they would be distracted by Gabriel, so I'd say yes. They have no idea I'm here. I hope they will have no idea I'm here.
And any of your friends or contacts provide assistance?
Nah.
No. Okay. And is this plan? This plan is a higher tier. Are there any other factors that you would like to consider?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So higher tier and
Load.
yes. Yeah. So what load do you take?
Medium, and I think I have a grapple hook.
You've got that in burglary gear. That would be included in that.
And I think Hestia has something to for the exterior.
She's got the fine burglary gear, which is one load item.
Yeah.
Which you can use that as your as the crew
To pick the lock.
Yes. Okay. So so that's all included in burglary gear. Lockpicks, grappling hooks, oil for squeaky hinges, and whatever you might need. But you're also relying on Gabriel, and they are one tier higher, which does drop it by another 2. So here we go. A 5. Of that. Opening that first door on the 5th floor, you slip into a room which is modestly illuminated, but the slight noise and occasional murmurs suggest that there is a residence inside the building. But in the exact moment, you're within the shadows of the front door, and you can only hear whoever it might be.
Okay. I'm going to the window as quick as possible.
Absolutely. I'm going to say, make me a check. This one is a desperate action.
So it would be prowess.
Prowess is the resistance.
Okay. I think I'll go with. Would hunt work?
I would say that hunt would be at this point limited effects.
Yeah.
So you can push yourself and you can raise the effects, but because it's a desperate action and a limited effect, if it goes badly, it's going to might not go well.
Agent of Chaos, do it.
Yeah. What else I could throw away? Yes, I'm going with hands.
Would you like to push yourself for the additional effect? Or another die? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a normal effect, but it's still a desperate action. So remember to mark off your on your track for that experience.
No bonus dice.
Not for this one because you're using pushing yourself to break the effects.
3 in fact.
Oh, success with a complication. It's as you sneak across the room, you're very aware that there's a couple of floorboards that creak underfoot, and as you slip out, you see this figure, just the shadow on the wall, as they grab a lantern and make their way out to the front and begin sweeping this light around. And you can see the figure now, big, heavy-set Scotlander. Who's there? I hear you. What do you think about what you want to do as another desperate action? Gabriel.
My desperate
Try
action.
Catch your breath.
Yeah, I was gonna say the desperate action is me making it up these stairs. What? Probably on the second flight of stairs, Gabriel kind of just takes a deep breath and goes, "That's it. That's it. I can't. I've got to do something about this. I've got to do something about this." Okay. And he goes up the next flight.
As Lottie ducks into that room, she would be able to just about hear the wheezing echoing down the central stairwell as you arrive on the floor above, a good 20 minutes after you first started.
Okay. Gabriel's gonna kind of... He'd taken his coat off, but now he's gonna kind of put his coat back on and kind of button it to hide the just drenched white shirt underneath. Yeah, like he ain't shown that off.
As you begin to climb from the 5th floor to the 6th as well, you begin to realise that the stairs, especially with the amount that you're looking down, a lot of the floorboards are etched and carved with runic symbols and sigils, and various trinkets have been looped around the banister. Most of them made out of bone, carved themselves.
Gabriel is somewhat interested in this. Could I make a study roll? I know it would be a limited effect at best.
No, not a limited effect on those.
Okay.
Study's absolutely fine, yeah.
I figured because they were probably of arcane nature that attune would have been better, but...
Attune would also work, but you could know what these things are from an academic perspective as well. What's the success, but control position, so it's normal effects. As you reach out and just you feel some sort of energy emanating from them, and you can't help but feel that you're being watched, that you're not alone in this stairwell despite all evidence to the contrary, and that'll be a level 1 harm of haunted. Meanwhile, Lottie, on the balcony, you're sort of ducked into a shadow, and occasionally you just get the sweeping light as the occupant makes his way, looking behind the the cheap furniture in that front room. What would you like to do?
Near the window, or am I already outside?
You're outside. You're on the balcony, and you duck behind this very, very old, long dead plant, which is sat on the stone pedestal planter. It's just dead leaves in the pot, though.
Yeah. I think first I like to be sure the window cannot be opened while I'm climbing. So I'm just gonna stuck something in front. Maybe just the really stealthy, put the dead plant in front of it so it will slow if
Absolutely, yeah. It will at least break the window if he tries to open it.
And then I'm going to climb.
I'm going to say maybe a check for all of that, but again, that's desperate action again.
What could it be?
Something like that. If you want to go stealthy, prowl, maybe finesse.
Yeah, I'm going to prowl. So this spring.
As you begin to climb, you're suddenly aware of there's the sound as the occupant tries to shoulder open the window, and there's the sound of shattering glass, and from above you there is a clatter as one of the occupants makes their way out onto the balcony and sees a grappling hook over the side of their balcony. And instantly, would you like to resist as he flicks it?
Yes.
And so for that, you need to roll prowess. Oh, very nice. So you don't take any stress, and it's up to you if you'd like to take armor, because that will downgrade it to a level 2 harm as you throw yourself and catch a gargoyle as this rope just goes, and there's a splash as you hear the hook hit the water. So if you take armor as well, that will make it a level 1 harm, which you can swing off the gargoyle and swing back around. There's this rack as your shoulder hits into the wall, and that is going to be some heavy bruising. However, the target of the figure on the balcony is very aware of your presence.
Well,
and we will get back to Gabriel as you make your way up, now cautiously looking over your shoulder. I'm going to say that limited effect on we'll say insight rolls for Gabriel, and limited effect on prowess rolls for Lottie with the injuries that you've taken.
All right, well, once Gabriel gets to the door, rap.
The door itself as well, as you notice, it's got all these carvings. It's made up, all the wood has kind of been turned into this very almost disturbing mural. And as you rap on the door, it opens, but seemingly with no one behind it to even open it.
Gabriel kind of gives a shiver and goes, "Of course Omen's not here. Gabriel kind of calms himself, takes a deep breath. "Hello? Anyone here? I've come to parley."
You see a figure from within step out into the semi-darkness of the hallway and just beckons you forward.
Gabriel,
We receive all guests.
Wonderful. Gabriel walks in. Is this place like lit at all, or?
There's very, very minimal lighting, mainly from electroplasmic lanterns, which have been hung up on hooks, but a little bit too far apart to give a constant glow. So the hallway itself falls into shadow between the lanterns.
All right. Well, Gabriel's just gonna approach the person that beckoned. As if that sounds like a wonderful idea. That sounds like nothing could go wrong there.
As you get closer, you're aware of a doorway to your left, which is somewhat open as well, and you see this very large dog kind of look up. The teeth go back. The teeth are bared a little bit. You just see that little bit of the gums before you move on, and it puts its head down back on its feet, where it's on a and it's just lying there on this very very old fur covered, mainly from the dog, rug.
As I pass the dog, I kind of give it a nod of my head as I continue to move on.
It's the point. That's when the head goes back down onto its front paws, and the figure turns and begins to lead the way into what would have probably been a functional living room if this was being used as intended. However, it's been completely gutted. It looks a lot like your hideout did initially, and candles burn in very, very strange positions in the room, and all interconnected with chalk lines that sit at various angles, creating this large version of one of the recurring sigils that you saw on the stairwell. And as you go further, you're aware of that figure turning and stopping you as you're about to cross over one of the chalk lines, and it's, "Do not cross the line."
Very well. So, I have come, well, 1, bearing gifts, and 2, I seek information.
Very well. And at this point, in the light of the candles, you can see the features of Ansa Aloro illuminated in the flickering light. And as she kind of indicates a slightly rickety-looking ladder, which goes up to the 7th floor. That very top floor, which at the moment has is accessed purely by a hole in it, and this ladder that goes up. And she begins sort of gathering these bunches of skirts, and as she begins to ascend, leading the way.
Gabriel gives her plenty of time to get up there, as he's also kind of checking the ladder, like, does this ladder look like it's gonna hold? Like, honestly.
It creaks, and you feel a couple of the rungs bow as you put your weight on them, and as you reach the top few rungs of the ladder, there's the sound of shattering glass from below, and you hear Ansa shout down from above. It's Declan. Find out what that was. And this figure makes their way out from the room in the corridor, going right around the inscribed sigil on the floor, and opens the window. And you just hear that as the door shuts, you just hear, "What love?" Lottie.
Yes.
Hanging from a gargoyle, with a figure on the balcony, who is. You see them kind of craning their neck out, trying to see you. At the moment, you're sort of somewhat obscured on the far side of the gargoyle. But what would you like to do?
For now, staying exactly where I am. Not moving I'm part of the statue. Sorry. Don't look at me. Just hang on the gargoyle.
Okay, I'm going to make a fortune roll. You see the figure kind of look out and look down, where the water below is still rippling from where the grappling hook fell in. And you hear him shouting to the guy below, who's hey, Greg, what's going on down there? Who's it? And turns his attention back and begins sort of looking around. You're just able to sort of conceal yourself in the shadows. However, you do notice that your arm is beginning to feel the strain of it. And I am going to start a 4-piece clock.
Oh no.
We'll do.
And now
I'm actually going to do a couple of pieces for this one for Lottie Falls.
And everybody knows now they're going to have a very long conversation. They're going to talk about the weather, the news, how each other's families are doing, and you're just going to be like, shut up, move it.
It's as in the upper floor as Answer examines the wine. She holds it up against some of the light that's in there, examining the color. Doesn't open it, turns it over, and there's an engraved year on the bottle. She seems to know her stuff, but it might be that she's probably been told what's good and doesn't actually know herself.
So she's not. So this is just her pulling stuff up from her memory.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like she probably read in a book that the date 13 was a good year, and it's just now that that's a good year. I'm just regurgitating information.
Okay.
So Lottie. What would you like to do? Oh, we can't hear you. Oh,
Sorry.
oh no, there we go. That's good.
Let's say if I let myself fall, would I end up in the water?
Yes, at this height, that's going to be like concrete. You're 6 stories up.
Not good. Good. And if I go up,
You've got a floor above you where
like still there?
Yes, you'd be up on the level above, and with Gabriel outside the room where Gabriel currently is.
Is the henchman? Does he look like he's gonna be here a while, or is he going to?
He's eliminated the. On that complication, he knows that you didn't go down with it. He knows you're on the building somewhere, but at the moment that gargoyle is giving you the cover, so he can't actually see you. And if he looked at it really carefully, he'd see like a pair of hands grabbing inside its mouth.
Is he going to go back inside soon, or is he staying here for a while?
Probably not at this point.
Okay, I'm going to try to climb down.
Okay. So these gargoyles are kind of built off the sides of the balconies as well. They're looking outwards. Most of them are there to disguise drains, so occasionally there's like water just kind of dribbling out their mouths.
Can I try to go to the side. Is there on the corner?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Out of the sight.
Okay. Yeah. So swinging onto the side of the building. Are you going up or down? What's the? Bearing in mind, down is where that other guy is, who is still. You hear it's like the clack, the sort of the clack of metal as he's still trying to move that plant pot against the window.
Still going up. The show must go on.
Sort of gripping as hard as you can, and you really begin to feel the strain on your fingers as you begin to you're reaching in between the brickwork, and it really begins to kind of catch on your fingers and things like that. You're able to climb up another story, but at this point you really need to get off that wall.
Yeah, let's stay here.
So at the moment, yeah, you're the next story above. This guy, you can now see this guy from above, like you're looking over the side of the wall, just seeing him in the half light, looking around. And you also notice that he's got a blackjack in one hand as well. Just
to go on the balcony on the side where he isn't.
Okay, so yeah, pulling yourself up onto that. You are aware you can see into the main room, and you can see in one far corner, through an open doorway, so into the next room, as it were. You can just about make out the silhouettes of Gabriel and Masa engaged in a conversation. This room looks like a hoarder's. It's the life goals of a hoarder. It's piled up with books, papers, old newspapers, boxes, crates. Probably close to some of them reaching up to about 5.5 foot off the ground.
Okay.
So at the moment you're on the balcony. Gabriel.
I'll just go ahead and get started. There was a recent incident in Dunslow. I'm sure you're aware of it.
She's uncorked the wine at this point and is pouring 2 glasses. There is a decided moment where she stops pouring and then continues.
Gabriel very much takes note of that little hiccup there. I would assume from that you have heard of the incident.
It's Dusk. Word spreads fast.
That much it does. I did not know the man very well. I knew of him, and I knew some of his paranoid ramblings. It comes to my attention that they may not have been so paranoid. It seems like they were maybe well-founded. As such, I wonder why he was picked.
She turns, takes a sip of wine, and make me a check. While you do that, I am going to be 30 seconds.
I'm gonna push myself. Because I don't have a lot of points in sway. I'm used to talking to friends and allies, not random people in dark rooms. There's a 90% chance I might just kidnap this lady and we'll talk to her back at base. Like, feels like it might be the safer option than being bit by dogs. Oh wait, I'm actually safe up here. The dogs can't get up the ladder.
You will need to go down at some point.
Yeah. Which means out the window. And Gabriel is 350 pounds. Maybe I could just cannonball it. Let's do cannonball die.
What are you doing?
Oh, no. Nothing that you need to concern yourself with at this very moment. I'm gonna...
What did you...
I'm going to push myself.
Okay.
Because Gabriel talks to friends, not random Joe Schmoes. I'll take that.
Poor man's correct. She pauses for a moment and the one that we pay tribute to doesn't say kindly to victims, those that it sees as weak, those that others prey on. Strength of will counts for a lot.
Gabriel kind of nods, which that pretty much segues directly into his next question. He goes, and what about the ones that preyed upon him? I'm aware of a specific incident where he was attempting to gain an artifact of certain power that would allow him to hide. What about the ones that made sure that did not end up in his hands?
Well, a lot of it is not what the world sees, but what one feels.
Overly cryptic. No, I'm saying this out of game. That's overly cryptic.
Yeah. Essentially, it's like the Sathiel is targeting people that feel that they are their victims. So if you feel like you've been victimized or done over by someone, that is going to be drawing the attention in. It's not how the events necessarily transpired.
So, essentially he wants to cleanse people of victimhood.
Not cleanse. He doesn't tolerate weakness.
Gabriel actually takes a sip of wine at this point.
It's pretty good.
I doubt this is the first nor the last time we've heard of him for a while, correct?
We merely render service.
What services are that?
That is going to take a check. And while you make that check, Lottie, on the balcony, what are you doing?
If I try to go inside, would they notice it? Like, are they too close to from the window to hear me if I lock the... if I pick the lock and...
You can always try.
I am so glad I decided to push myself again.
I'll give it a try. Just try to open really slightly the window and
Absolutely.
judge the reaction.
I'm doing this deliberately here. Can I assist? Obviously, like
You're distracting her.
I'm already
so yes, I would say so it's pretty much a setup actually. So you can do, Lottie, you can roll a +1.
Okay. Going to roll finesse.
Finesse, yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, you're able to. You notice that one of the windows, is the hinge is incredibly rusted. So putting some oil onto that and just working the lock until you hear the faintest of clicks as the last of the tumblers falls into position and the window just creaks open silently. And slipping inside, you find yourself, it's pretty easy because once you're in the window, you can just basically swing your feet over and you're crouched on a box with loads of kind of papers at your feet as well. A lot of them look like the scrawling on them, it's random bits of paper, some of it's newspaper that's been written on, but the way it's been written, it looks almost like it's along the lines of automatic writing, that somebody wasn't aware of. It's almost scratched into the paper.
Okay. I think I'll try to look if I find any information about their next plans, if there are stuff that they want to do in the city.
Sure. Okay, go for it. I'll say greater effects. So risky check with a greater effect. Gabriel, on the you can see she is withholding information, and say as she says, again, this one is much more cryptic. She says, "The old forgotten gods always have plans."
That they do.
And you hear a clatter from. I was going to say, sorry, it's the complication. You hear a clatter as somebody begins ascending the ladder, and a voice emanates into the room saying, "It's Asa. There's no one there, but someone was there." As Deker, her associate, begins to make his way up.
Gabriel kind of, well, he's not too far from the ladder. He kind of looks down. You know, at this point, you know, he's probably, you know, at least loosely aware that he's referring to Lottie, but right now they would have no reason to think Gabriel has any connection to that, so it's not really super of concern. And I'm assuming Gabriel's also not aware that Lottie made it in at this point.
You have no idea where Lottie is. You're aware of the noises, the breaking glass, there was the shouting, and the guy who went to look at it. But Lottie's current whereabouts, as far as you know, could be anywhere. And on that note, it's going through as you duck down, as you see the shadow emerge on the wall of Declan as he climbs up. You're able to sort of sift through some papers, keeping this big shipping crate, which has been sat there for covered in dust and cobwebs. Who knows how long it's been there for? You're able to look through it, and you see pages which looked like they were almost childlike drawings, but in charcoal, kind of like somebody hastily kind of scrawling. And sifting through them, you find multiple faces, two of which you are decidedly recognizable as previous victims of yours.
Well, concerning. And the other one, do they ring a bell?
Some of them, the majority, there's 5 or 6 images. Some of them don't, but it's like I say, it's those. But you certainly recognise the 3 that you've already done, as being amidst the others.
It's all of the people we have targeted in the past, or only some of them?
Only some of them. Others are unknown to you.
No, but the one I recognize. Is there
You recognise 3 of them. One of them now being dead, and the other 2 are your other 2 previous targets.
Okay, so it's all of our targets.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that was my question. Is there any information about our crew?
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay. Maybe some stuff about preparation to act or something like that. Like a date or
Nothing like that. It's like reading the notes. A lot of them seem to be encrypted, or they're written in. There's a few that are written in Hadrathi, the language of Aruvia.
Okay.
There's others which are seemingly not even a kind of the Latin alphabet of Imperial. It's runic scrawlings.
Is there anything about trying to find a thing about Braun worked with the electricity stuff? Because I remember that part of that energy was
being
going
siphoned
somewhere else.
Sorry, say again. The energy was going from.
It was being siphoned.
Yes.
Oh, there's. Ooh. Some of it seems to lean that way. There's a few bits that you can decipher. However, it's not long before it kind of descends back into this cryptic, ciphered scrawling. Gabriel,
Yes.
what would you like to do?
Well, with that, we've kind of covered the 4 major questions that we needed. Why was he picked? Are we in any danger? What he wants, and more signs to come. We kind of have all the information we need. So Gabriel is going to state, well, that is all the questions I have. I wanted to make sure of some things. The reasoning for was because the most recent one, the one in Dunslow, had some connection to some of the work I have done, so I obviously wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be any crossing of streams, as it were. I have no interest in hampering your work, and I'm sure you have much to do.
Well, yes, but if you ever feel like there is a calling for you, don't hesitate to come back.
As Gabriel turns to leave, he does say, in a fairly loud voice, I don't think I will be taking you up on that. I have my own path that I follow.
The forgotten gods have strange ways.
Oh, do not mistake me. I'm very much aware of that. And then Gabriel proceeds to head down the ladder.
Lottie, from your secluded position, you are aware that Gabriel is leaving. What would you like to do?
And I have one more thing I want to do. And this is gonna be so bad, but I have to do it. As I get down, obviously the other guys went up. So
Yes.
As I go down, it's gonna look haphazard, but Gabriel's going to take a lovely shoe and just scrape it across that chalk line, deliberately breaking the connectivity of it. So essentially he's rubbing out a portion of the chalk with his shoe before he leaves.
Absolutely. Lottie, we will come back to that. Lottie, what do you want to do?
As I hear Gabriel leaving, I'm gonna put everything in place, not even looking for coins. I was planning on it, but it's a really bad idea and my shoulder hurts. I'm going through the windows and going down as quickly as possible.
As you begin to descend, you are aware as you drop past one of the windows, you're using those gargoyles and the balconies as different handholds and leverage points. You're aware that the windows in the building begin to rattle in their frames. And Gabriel, as you begin to clatter down the stairs, that presence that you felt before begins to feel a little bit stronger. And glancing over your shoulder, and as Lottie, as you reach the side of the building, begin to shimmy around, and you drop back onto the ground level, you find yourself instinctively just ducking down as all of the windows in this building just shatter outwards in one moment. And Gabriel, reaching the front door, like as you get it, you draw your hand back as you touch the door handle, which itself is now freezing to the touch, so much so that your fingers feel like they stick for a brief moment. Just using your coat, you force the door open.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Blades in the Dark, What Happens in the Dusk, part of the Domain Gaming, written and told by Wyverian and Livespark. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, remember the first rule of a con. Offer them everything for nothing, and give them nothing for everything.